This may seem like a bad Twilight Zone episode, but let me assure you, this story is too real. It all started with a simple tradition. Every show our theater team celebrates by going to Denny's. After the Our Town show in fall, I was informed of this custom. I've heard terrible things about Denny's. According to Ranker, Denny's is basically the Florida of all night diner chains. Denny's is possibly the only restaurant that has police officers guarding it. But the most terrifying myth was the Denny's Goblin. Creatures that appear human but are in no way akin to us. You may have heard of them, or seen one on YouTube. You probably don't believe in them. I don't blame you. I didn't. Despite my prior knowledge, I went without hesitating. I wanted to refuse, but I felt as if it was calling out to me, thus starting my ruination. We went during night, a perilous time. When we arrived, I was on high alert. I didn't trust Denny's and I never would. I was feeling drained, so I decided to order some food. Zesty nachos and a frosty chocolate milkshake. I could immediately tell that the food was not meant for humankind. The chips were stale, there was barely any beef, and where there was meat it was sloppy and yucky. The milkshakes were alright. Everyone around me was going crazy. It was pure chaos. I didn't feel safe. I feared I would go loony next, so I decided to hide in the bathroom. But that was where I saw it. A Denny's Goblin. He wore multiple layers of clothing. He was hunched over the toilet, grabbing all the toilet paper. I was paralyzed with fear. He turned around and spoke to me. "Oh, don't mind me, son," he said with an eeky, creaky voice. "I just got some toilet water on my hands and need to wipe it off." I found his story hard to believe, considering there was a stack of paper towels behind him. Then suddenly, he reached out for me. I had all the time in the world, but I was still in shock from meeting that Denny's Goblin in person. His hand rested on my shoulder for a second before I mustered up the courage to rush into the stalls. The whole experience was nothing but supernatural. However, when he put his hand on my shoulder, my apotheosis began, and with it, my death. Our winter show ended. It was time to go to Denny's. Again, I went, as if I was pulled to go. This time, I knew what was in store. I was prepared, but something I would have never anticipated happened. I enjoyed it. I ordered the All-American Slam, a classic. The toast was perfectly buttered, the bacon crispy, just the way I like it. The eggs were fluffy, everything was so tasty. I didn't just like the meal, I loved it. This filled my mind with more dread and questions. Is it because I'm tired and hungry? Maybe Denny's isn't that bad. No, I mustn't let the temptation get to me. I left the Denny's unsure whether it was my ally or my foe. There was only one way to find out. Spring. I needed answers, and answers I received. I decided to record my experience this time to prove my sanity, unknowing that tonight was the night I died. It started off as expected. Everyone ordered from the menu. I got the All-American Slam again. I started my interviews with some normal questions.
So, what do you think of Denny's?
I mean, I've only been here once, but I really liked their French toast when I came here.
Have you seen any goblins?
I have not, but I did see one really shady object in the bathroom one time. It ran across my stall and I got really frightened.
What do you think they put in the food in Denny's?
Well, honestly, I don't know what they could put in that makes it taste as bad as it does, and I shudder to imagine what it could possibly be. I think it's like a combination of hallucinogens and just straight garbage.
How would you describe Denny's?
Chaotic, definitely chaotic, and very wild, but also very chill.
So you said that you lost your scarf here, right?
I did, unfortunately. It was a very pretty one.
Where do you think the scarf is right now?
I think the scarf might have accidentally landed in some of the meals provided to other guests, and that as a consequence, some of them might have suffered food poisoning. That is my personal theory.
Across the room, a group of people who could not find seats beckoned for me. They were starting to build a shrine for me. They treated me like a leader, moaning, "Hail." One insane bystander explained the situation to me.
So currently people are building a shrine for me. What's about this?
All hail.
All hail Denny's Lord.
Listen, we're experiencing one of the chaos events at Denny's right now. Tables are shrinking, people are dying. We need a piece, or else the goblins will come and eat our shit.
Hail. Hail. Hail.
I tried to brush this event off, but something bothered me. It felt natural to be praised. I decided to interview more victims to take my mind off of it. I asked the question, what would you call the most goblin-like food? Among all answers, the most common was the zesty nachos and the all-American slam, the two meals I had when I came here. These results worried me. I came back to my worshippers who had finished the shrine. The shrine was a singular seat and a table. When I sat down, they started to praise me again. They seemed flattered that I accepted their request, some giggling with excitement. They asked me what I would wish to eat. I replied the all-American slam, of course. One of them responded with, "It shall be done, my God." I started to get very concerned, but not from their obsession with me, but because of the possibility that what they were saying might be true. During the interviews, however, the truth began to make itself more apparent, and not only to me.
What does a goblin look like?
You.
I panicked at this accusation, too aggressive.
No, I'm not a goblin. No, I'm not. I'm not a goblin. Have you seen a Denny's goblin yet?
No.
I think there's one right there.
She pointed right at me.
I'm not a goblin. Everyone keeps calling me a goblin. I'm not a goblin. They're calling me the god of Denny's. They're calling me the Goblin Lord. I'm not a goblin. No matter what I say, anything I say to them, they always just point at me and scream, "Goblin, goblin, goblin." I'm not a goblin, okay? I'm not a goblin.
I had to hide away from the truth. I was scared. I missed my face and stared up at my dark reflection in the mirror. I was not in my reflection. In place of me was the Denny's goblin that started it all. I was scared of the truth. I didn't want it to be true, even though I knew it was. I didn't want to become a goblin. Then I remembered what I learned in Mr. class. I remembered to embrace my darkness. Once I do that, I will have nothing to fear. So, I unsheathed the ultimate weapon, acceptance, and skewered the heart of my own shadow in a super cool and symbolic way. But like Newton's third law, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. With the death of one thing comes the birth of something new. My metamorphosis was complete. As I returned back into the real world, I left something behind. I left behind a husk of what I once was. I'm no longer human, yet I am no mere Denny's goblin either. I have become an entity that can coexist within both perceptions of reality, the freedom to live in both worlds, the trickster of both planes of existence, the perfect Denny's goblin. Wherever I go, I could bring chaos with me. I could be the destroyer of reality and or the savior of Denny's. I have become Lord Denny, reborn.